The movie that I'm going to be studying dialogue in is the movie We Bought a Zoo. I chose this movie because it is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love the story, I love the actors that were in it, and I just love how the story came about and how it was told. This story incorporates dialogue in a very unique and interesting way that makes it stand out to me from most movies. The movie is about this family who have recently lost their mom. So it's about the dad, Benjamin Mee, and his two kids, Dylan and Rosie. Dylan is a teenager, and him and his dad tend to butt heads a lot, and then Rosie is Benjamin's sweet little daughter. The movie takes place 6 months after the mom had passed away, and so the family is still learning how to continue on with their life, how to get readjusted to this new life that they're living. And Benjamin decides that he's going to move his family somewhere new, somewhere where they can get a fresh start. So he starts looking around at houses, and he finds this house that's perfect for him and his family. But the house has a very interesting price to it because it's attached to a zoo. A zoo that is kind of dying, and if it doesn't pass the inspections, it'll be put out of business. So Benjamin, against all odds and most common sense, decides that he's going to buy the house and the zoo along with it, and that he's going to rebuild the zoo and help it pass its inspections. So he does. He buys a house, he moves his family there, and they start their new life. So throughout the movie, Benjamin is trying to bring healing and restoration to the zoo, and he's also trying to bring the same elements to his family. He uses the art of storytelling in a very unique way in the way that he talks. When he talks, he captivates his audience because the words he says are carefully chosen, and they all have this meaning and this kind of story and history behind them, and that makes them so much more powerful throughout the movie. Throughout the film, there are a couple of key terms that really impact and shape the film in many ways. One of them is 20 seconds of insane courage, and the other one is why not. Let's unpack the first phrase, 20 seconds of insane courage. In a heartwarming scene where Benjamin and his son Dylan are sitting by the tiger's cage, the night before they got into a really nasty fight, so this is them kind of reconciling or making up from the fight. In the scene, Benjamin starts asking his son about girls, and Dylan was explaining how he feels like if you say something, you embarrass yourself, if you don't say something, you embarrass yourself, and that he's just in a lose-lose situation when it comes to talking to girls. And Benjamin said, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage, just insane, embarrassing bravery, and I promise you something good will come from it. It was a powerful statement that ended up affecting his son in an incredible way as the movie progresses, and we find out later at the end of the movie that that phrase actually came from Benjamin's brother, and that changed his whole life and even led him to meeting his wife, but we'll talk about that later. So let's unpack the second phrase, why not? This phrase is a little bit more subtle, and the audience member may not realize how influential the phrase is until the very end of the movie. The phrase was first used when Benjamin and Kelly were getting on each other's nerves and getting frustrated because Kelly was saying, you know, I've been at this zoo, I've dedicated my life to this zoo, and I'm wondering why you, this random guy from the city who has no experience with animals, would just come in and buy the zoo. And he took a moment, and he paused, and he just looked at her and said, why not? But it's not till the end that you realize why he had that phrase already stored into his mind. Let's finally talk about that final scene that I keep referencing. This is my favorite scene of the whole movie, the most impactful scene in my opinion. In this final scene, Benjamin takes his two kids to the place where he met their mom.
Stop. She was right there. This is the moment where both of you became a possibility.
I love that you're telling stories again.
This is the story before the story, because this is where I met your mom. She was sitting right there in that chair.
I was walking by, and I literally stopped. But I've never done anything like this. I'd never gone and talked to a total stranger before, but she was right there. 20 seconds, right? Go.
Excuse me. Why would an amazing woman like you even talk to someone like me?
Why not?
This scene to me is so powerful because it changes the life of Benjamin. It changes the life of his kids. It changes the life of that zoo. If that scene hadn't taken place, if Benjamin hadn't just listened to his brother and taken 20 seconds of insane courage to talk to this beautiful, wonderful woman, this woman of his dreams, then none of this would have ever happened. I think this movie is absolutely incredible. It's a family-friendly movie. It has a lot of really great scenes that have even impacted my own life, to just step out of my comfort zone and go up to people and talk to them, just even if it is for 20 seconds. I think the dialogue within this movie is so impactful. The way the movie was created, the music played, the actors who were in it, they just create this story that you're so just captivated by. And the dialogue, even though it's subtle, even though those phrases were only used a couple times in the movie, they changed the course of the whole film. So there's my analysis. Thank you so much for watching.